Hey guys, welcome to The Strong Young Man. Many people are in such a rush to make adult decisions that require them to commit to an event, a person, a group, or a career. This is eventually what's required of anyone who wishes to achieve personal and professional goals. But if this is done prematurely, it can rob you of opportunities and cost you a lot more in the long run. Understand that the moment you commit to something, big or small, you simultaneously close yourself off to other opportunities that would have presented themselves if you'd kept your options open. Shutting yourself off to these other options hinders your ability to maneuver and change directions should you need to in the future. The ability to maneuver is the greatest force multiplier. You need to wait until you've developed maturity and clarity on what you want out of life before you begin to narrow your focus and close yourself off to other personal and professional opportunities. This may take until your early 30s to determine. In fact, sometimes it's wise to not commit to anything at all, maintaining the freedom that comes along with not committing. So how do you know if you should keep your options open? If you decide to commit to something or someone, how do you know exactly when to do this? Today I'll unpack the 4 most common circumstances in which you must perfect the art and balance of keeping your options open. Then I'll run through how to commit and secure the best option available to you. Part 1. Keeping your professional options open. When you consider your job, you should operate under the understanding that you are not going to be at the one place forever. This does not mean you should half-ass your job. Anything worth doing is worth doing well. Ayn Rand once said, "There is no such thing as a lousy job, only lousy men who don't care to do it." Understand that in anything you do in life, doing 90% of what's required is one of the biggest wastes because you have nothing to show for all of your efforts. The reversal to this is that doing 110% of what's required is one of the smartest investments because you stand out above everyone else around you with only 10% more effort. Take pride in your work and put in the overtime. Understand that the return on unpaid overtime is non-linear. On average, working an extra 10% in hours will net you approximately 40% more in pay rises over the course of your career. Do the work as if you're going to be there forever, but you must consider that you should not mentally, physically, or emotionally commit to any one workplace for the duration of your career. Most of the big increases in your salary will come from moving around approximately every 5 years. Another thing to consider when determining your career path is that you must not narrow down your chosen job field prematurely. For example, if you have a passion for the trades, keep your options open until you know what trade you are most passionate about. If you specialise too early in a very niche role, especially in something that doesn't appeal to you, you may lose the opportunity to pivot to a different position later on. Instead, remain orientated in an open field until you know exactly what you want to spend the next 30 to 40 years doing for income. Sometimes this may take several years to determine what you want to specialise in. By keeping your professional options open, more opportunities will open up to you down the track, which you can play off against one another to yield larger increases in your salary. Above everything else, do not commit to a role that doesn't foster growth in your intended path. This may include sacrificing a big pay rise from a lucrative company because you're not sure that it's something you want to do. Understand that what you sacrifice in income will be made up for in manoeuvrability. Not only will you get to select your preferred job when the opportunity comes, but you will increase the likelihood of excelling in that role because it's something that you're interested in. Eventually, there may come a time where you have to specialise in a particular domain. This is natural and is essential to becoming an expert if your field has opportunities to grow and hone your skills in one particular area. Just understand that until you know what that is, do not accept any role that will narrow your experience to a niche profession. Finally, you must also consider that sometimes it's better to never commit to a role or hone your skills. Some professions value flexible skills over concentrated expertise, a jack of all trades but a master of none. You must properly analyse every situation and weigh up your decision based on the information available to you. Learn to make decisions when you are ready, and until then, keep your professional options open. Part 2. Keeping your relationships open. On the subject of relationships, especially for young men in their early to mid-20s, you must not commit to any one woman. Keep your options open. Most of the time, the women in your early and mid-20s won't mean anything to you in a few years. On average, guys get married in their early to mid-30s, not their early to mid-20s. Stop wasting your time with one woman during this period. In your early 20s, learn to play the field and get small samples of many women in the sexual marketplace. This will help you identify what you value in a woman, so you can pick the best one when you are mature enough and ready to start a family. Understand that your efforts are better spent building your empire, rather than devoting large chunks of your 20s being distracted by one woman. As a man, your ability to succeed in life is hindered and encumbered by the complications that maintaining a monogamous relationship requires. Your 20s will shape how the rest of your life will turn out, and if you are smart, you'll get a jump on life during this period, including putting your head down and doing some hard work. Another problem that occurs from committing to a woman on a long-term basis is that you lose your ability to maneuver around the social marketplace. I can honestly say that I've achieved the most life satisfaction when I've been single and been able to selfishly indulge in any opportunity that comes my way. This goes beyond any sexual escapades. The freedom I feel when I go out or stay in is cleansing. I can go on adventures anywhere, anytime, at a moment's notice. I can invest as much or as little time into myself as I want, guilt-free. If you aren't comfortable being single, then you need to work on yourself. You need to be happy with yourself before you can radiate this positive aura onto others in your relationships. If you desire to pair with someone to fill a void within yourself, your desire for that person is necessitous and is not genuine desire. You will form a dependent relationship rather than an interdependent relationship. You will likely take the first option that comes along, not a high-quality option that you would have otherwise attracted had you been playing the field. People who behave as the opposite, as a free agent, are inherently more desirable. Their aloofness is attractive because they can't be pinned down. This increases the desire that women will have for you. When you are ready to narrow down your options, you should still be playing the field, not committing to any one woman. By seeing several women at once, you'll only want to stop the system that you have for a woman that's really worth it. This is the antidote to one-itis. One-itis is an unhealthy obsession with a single person. This is not the mindset to be in when entering into a long-term relationship with someone. The ideal way for a man to enter into any kind of long-term relationship is for him to have many women available to him, but only committing to one woman when he is ready and when he finds a good woman. When you're in a long-term relationship, you should continue a diluted form of this mindset. Do not have an unhealthy obsession or an unrealistic, idealistic perception of your woman. If you appear as though you have no sexual options outside of her, she will lose attraction for you and she may begin to seek attention from other men. This goes beyond sexual attention. You must be able to demonstrate that you have a life with options that extend beyond her. Sustain hobbies, commitments, passions, and other relationships that fulfill you should your relationship fail. Part 3. Do not commit to any side in an argument. In the matter of conflicts, and when you're in the presence of a confrontation between two people, do not get involved. You must control the tendency to offer your judgment. Freedom comes from moral self-control. Do not commit to any side but your own side. Bring a neutral stance to the argument, or play the mediator if you're required to comment. Otherwise, think carefully before you speak. Better to remain silent and let the conflicting parties sort it out. As legendary military strategist Sun Tzu says in The Art of War, if you are not in danger, do not fight. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. By waiting and slowing things down, as time passes, it will present you with opportunities that you had not imagined. Everyone loses respect for someone who commits too quickly. They also doubt your loyalty and may believe you'll commit to a different course tomorrow. Additionally, if you align yourself with one person, you cost yourself the opportunity to get the upper hand over both of the conflicting parties. Committing to someone means that you have to shut yourself off from the other. By not committing at all, you command respect. You put yourself in the one-up position over both parties, and you retain the ability to align yourself with either party should you need their allegiance down the track. You can become the master of everyone and play people against one another. Understand that people are naturally attracted to those who don't commit to anyone. People will work that much harder to secure their attention because it is so elusive. We see this in seduction, and it's the same in all domains of life. People's frustrated desires will drive them to invest energy into obtaining your allegiance. They want to be the ones to get you to commit. If you retain your elusive nature, you also retain this power. As you mature, this desire will only become stronger and stronger. Part 4. Keeping life's plan open. Another consideration to have in life is to build adaptability into everything that you plan for. Life can subject you to trauma that has the potential to corrupt the plans you had for the future. A death, a job loss, a divorce, or a severe illness can come without notice. You should do your best to construct flexible plans for your future, which you can adapt as life throws you curveballs. You may never have to adapt, but better to have an adaptable plan and not need one than to not have one and need one. This will mean that you consistently think of how the aforementioned curveballs could affect your planned outcome. This will enable you to keep your options open, which will better suit you when faced with life's turbulence. This is known as a pivot. Conceptualize plan A, but always consider that you may have to pivot to plan B if X happens, plan C if Y happens, or plan D if Z happens. This is strategic depth of thinking, as opposed to formulaic thinking. Gene Simmons was well known for this ability. His singing career was always plan A, but while he was cultivating his music career, he was also developing careers in other domains. He served as an assistant to an editor of the fashion magazine Vogue, plan B, and also spent several months as a 6th grade teacher, plan C. Keeping your options open will give you the ability to change paths easily. If you build this flexibility into your plan from the start, then you can adapt as required. If you fail to do this, then you'll be consumed by the chaos when life throws you curveballs, because you'll have to construct an emergency plan B when so many options are closed off to you. Reversal. Understand that bringing plenty of options to your life can sometimes be overbearing. Having too many choices can corrupt individuals. The abundance of options paralyzes people into inaction because they think that by choosing now, they will miss out on a better option that is yet to come. The paradox of choice here is that the person ends up selecting nothing and misses out on every opportunity entirely. You must consider this problem. Playing too defensive and keeping your options open can be just as bad as not keeping your options open. This is because sometimes through not committing, you will miss out on opportunities that are beneficial to you in the long run. For a lot of things in life, you must eventually commit to someone or something. If this is what's required, the best time to do this is during a golden time, or when you're in the Goldilocks zone of the graph. A golden time is a period where you have the greatest ability to maneuver, the greatest number of favourable options, and you know exactly what you want. This golden time also occurs just before your favourable options start to decrease. It's the best time to commit to something or someone because after this point, not committing will cost you more in the long run. Don't be so foolish to believe that your present state of ever-increasing options will continue to increase or even remain at the same level. By not committing, eventually time will see your favourable options diminish. You must identify the best point in the Goldilocks zone to commit to the most favourable option and commit accordingly. Remember to keep backup plans available to you if you can. Don't close off options just because you've committed to something. Keep as many options open as you can while you make your commitment. Build in as much flexibility to your plan as your ability affords you. Note that the point at which you must commit will be highly individualistic, depending on a variety of factors. Sometimes it may benefit you to commit early on in the Goldilocks zone, or even prematurely, because it will open up other options for you, which will create a newer Goldilocks zone with more lucrative opportunities. Sometimes it will benefit you to delay your commitment, because you need more time to order yourself or determine exactly what you want. The opportunities are not yet closing off at such a rapid rate, and you can afford to hold off a little longer to maximise your ability to achieve your long-term goals. Another thing to consider is that the point at which you should commit must be selected by you and be on your terms, and not because it is forced on you. Don't allow ultimatums to force you to commit to someone or something before you are ready. This will result in you forfeiting some of your power, and your commitment to them will be on their terms. Additionally, don't allow your friends' life choices to push you to make the same decisions. You are not on the same path as them. Above everything else, make sure that you are doing something because you want to, and not because society expects it of you. As a man, you're in control of your own life. Learn to judge when the time is right for you to close yourself off from options in order to focus on something with more concentration. The sole motive of this operation is to maintain as many desirable options as possible until you are mature enough to devote your life to a path, a cause, or a person. Keep this in mind for when you think you'll miss more opportunities by not committing, and then act accordingly. Remember to proceed through life at your own pace and always remain adaptable. Thanks for watching today's episode. In episode 81, I'll talk about how to deal with injuries. Subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when it drops. Catch you then.